How's it going, everybody? Doing a request here today. Someone in a comment had mentioned showing my Star Wars games and doing like a top 5. I only own about 5 Star Wars games at the moment. I played a lot more, but I do not have any of my top 5 in my collection, but I can talk about my top 5 games here. My top 5 Star Wars games I can definitely talk about. Alright, so there are some that I've not played that I want to play. I played a very little bit of Republic Commando back when it was they had a demo on another game disc for the Xbox that I had gotten. I can't remember what game it was. That's the only thing I really played for it, so I haven't played that one. I haven't played some of the Jedi Outcast type games or whatever. Jedi Academy, stuff like that. The Battlefronts. I have not played any extended period of time of any of those games either. Whatever, there's a lot of Star Wars games and I've not played a good amount. But I have played a good amount as well. There are a lot. So I'll start with number 5 and work my way down. Number 5 would be the Lego Star Wars Complete Saga. I know the Skywalker Saga just came out, which now has all 9 movies, but the Complete Saga added, gave you the prequels and the original trilogy together. And I loved it. I enjoy Lego games, especially Lego games like that are, based on a franchise that I really like. No, something on the camera. And I like Star Wars, and that was a fun one. A shit ton of gameplay. I mean, I played probably 35 hours of that fucking game because I know it would keep tracking like the cantina where you can choose your level or whatever. But it was just a super fun game where, obviously you can unlock fucking just probably fucking 100 characters to use when it's free play. After you beat the levels, you can play them in free play to then, because you need to get other guys or characters that have abilities and that you can use in the level that originally, when you first play through a level, is things you can't access because you don't have certain characters that have certain abilities. But it's super fun and it looked great. I'm sure it still does look great. But it's fun being able to play through all 6, so you got all that content at that point into one game. Which was really fun. And I never played the original Lego Star Wars. That was the prequels. The first one I played was the original trilogy one on the 360. I think it was Lego Star Wars 2, weren't the original trilogy. Because the first one came out on the Xbox, GameCube, and PS2, which is fucking crazy to think about. But I want to say it was a late era title, and I just didn't play it. So my first exposure to the prequel ones was in the Complete Saga. It was just fun. Like I said, a ton of gameplay. It's fun. They didn't talk back then, the Legos. Over time, they started to either give a movie the voices directly from the movies that they were coming from, or now some of them I think they just have voices the whole time. But it had good humor as well. It was like good, kind of just lighthearted, goofy. A lot of it was, I don't know what the word is, like almost like environmental humor and stuff. A lot of like slapstick type humor. And there, but like I said, the gameplay's fun. They're lighthearted games, You can die, but you just lose some like Lego studs. That's about it. And there's a lot of replayability in that game as well, because you got to go back and replay levels to get all the mini bricks and the fucking. What were the things you collected in the Star Wars ones? God damn it. The little things you would have to collect. There's 10 of them. Every game has each one, but you have to collect a ton of shit in each level. The replayability is there. Graphics great. It's based on a franchise that a lot of people love. It's a lot of fun in that game for sure. That would definitely be number 5 though. And I enjoyed the shit out of that game. Like I said, I probably put 35 to 50 hours into that fucking thing. Number 4 would be. You know what? I'm looking at 3 and 4 here. I'm gonna say 4 would probably be Super Empire Strikes Back for the Super Nintendo. I played Super Star Wars as well, but I have never played, and I want to pick it up at some point. I never played Super Return of the Jedi on the Super Nintendo. But I remember when I originally I did a gameplay on this channel. I don't know if it's still up or if I removed it. Of Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back. It was one of the first gameplays I actually did, I think. I don't know if it's still up. It might be. But really fun game, especially like back then, because it kind of followed the movies along. They had all the games. They were fucking hard. All the 2 I played were hard. I'm gonna assume Super Return of the Jedi is hard as fuck too. But it was fun. It looked great for the time. It still looks good now. The sprites and everything still look nice. Like I said, you follow throughout the movie, Empire Strikes Back the movie. You could use Han. I believe you use Han, Chewie, and Luke, depending on what levels you're on. And stuff, like I said, it's hard as fuck. Those games were tough. There's a lot of getting killed in that. It was fun. There was like little secrets you can find too in each level and stuff. Back when like extra lives mattered and shit like that, and health mattered. It had a nice look. Some of the games had I want to say Super Empire Strikes Back had it might have been a Cloud City flying level. I can't remember for sure. That had like the fucking, what was it on the FX, the Super like FX thing on whatever the hell the Super Nintendo had. The first game had when you were in the land speeder. Mode 7, is that what it was called? Mode 7. So there was a level like that. There might have been 2 actually. I can't remember fully. But you had that as well. There's some variation to the gameplay. And that one, like I said, you could choose different characters. Certain levels you could usually I think some levels you had to use a certain guy, but other ones you could usually choose between 2 or 3 of them. It sounded great too. The Super Nintendo had great fucking sound. And you had the classic fucking Star Wars sounds and tunes in there, just, in 16-bit. But that was a really cool fucking game. The Lego Indiana, not the Lego Indiana, the Indiana Jones trilogy, Greatest Adventures game that I have on Super Nintendo was made by the same people, LucasArts and whoever else was involved. And that has the same look graphically, except you get all 3 of the movies. Back then, all 3 of the movies on the same cartridge. But it had that same cool look. That's what, like, graphically they look great, and the gameplay was fun, but fucking hard. I couldn't tell you how long it was. If you actually beat it and straight through, it probably wasn't that long. But it was a cool game for sure. I'd definitely do number 4 on that one. And actually, if you've never played those games and you have access to a Super Nintendo or one of the clone consoles like a Retron or something that plays Super Nintendo games, absolutely pick those up. And at this point, you can just use level codes. If levels are pissing you off, just throw a level code in and fucking go to another level. Just to at least experience different levels. Number 3, I wouldn't say it's a controversial one. I fucking enjoyed the shit out of this fucking game. Number 3 for me is Shadows of the Empire on the N64. It was one of the first N64 games that I owned. The first one was Mario 64. I want to say it was the second one I owned. The second or third. That's awesome. Use what the fuck was the guy's name? Dash Rendar. And this one took place during I want to say it took place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. But there's another group, Prince something, is another bad guy, and he has another group. That's why it's like Shadows of the Empire. They made figures on these, and I think there's some books. I don't think it's canon anymore, or if it ever was. But his group is fighting the Empire as well. So there's a couple like scenes where I think there's like a mission where you're in like an air battle, and fucking the one group's fighting both sides. The other bad guys are fighting the Empire, and they're fighting you. So it's kind of interesting. But this game had some vehicle missions, levels. And I think the game started with a Hoth level because, of course, it did. And that was fun. I remember you had to take down the fucking things, just like the movie. You're in the speeder, whatever the fuck they call that ship that he uses, and you fucking take down the they're the ATSTs, are the four-legged ones, right? The AT or the AT-ATs, the two-legged ones. I forget which one's two-legged, which one's four-legged ones. You have to take them down with the fucking like bow thing, harpoon, fucking around the legs and stuff. And you gotta take out like droids and shit like that. The probe droids or whatever the fuck they are. And then there's on foot missions, you know. I think it follows Empire Strikes Back at first, and then you go off and do other random shit. So I'm pretty sure the second mission, you meet up with Han Solo, and you're like you're inside trying to escape Hoth. So that's a mission, that's an on foot mission. And then like they meet, and like Dash Rendar has his own ship too, and I think they're going back and forth like my ship's better than the Millennium Falcon, you know. I forget that guy's name is Prince something, the other bad guy, but I can't remember every level of it. I do remember there's a level where you use the speeder bike, and you can collect these tokens, like the silver rebellion tokens. They're just collectibles. I don't know if they accessed anything when you got them all in each level. So the rock collectibles are fine. At the time, the game looked fucking great. I have not played it in a long time, so I don't know how it would look now. But back then, it looked good. I think I didn't review poorly, I don't think, but I remember people kind of shitting on it. I thought it was really fucking cool. He said there was varied levels. Same thing, you're getting the fucking sound effects and the music from the Star Wars movies. So that's there. There were varied missions. Most were on foot, but there was a good amount of flying ones too. And just using other vehicles. But I like that one overall. I thought that was a cool game. Like I said, my memory's a little foggy on these games because they're all, the closest one would be, or the next two are from the Xbox Cube and PS2 eras. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. The Lego Star Wars is from 360 PS3 era. Wow. Can't even remember what I was talking about 5 minutes ago. But yeah, Shadow of the Empire is in third. I don't think that's an overpricey game now either. It's one of the cheaper N64 games. You probably get it for $20-25. It's worth picking up, I think. Number 2 would be Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader on the GameCube. This was a launch title for the GameCube. It was the second game I owned for the GameCube. When I got my GameCube, I stupidly bought Madden 02 with it. And then, like, the next day, I'm like, why did I get this? I want fucking Star Wars. So I went and got Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader, sequel to the one on the N64. Now, the one after it, Rebel Strike, I think the third one was called Rebel Strike. There was actually on-foot missions. This one did not have any on-foot missions. It was strictly a shooter, like a vehicle shooter, shmup, maybe you could call that. But and at the time, I don't know how it looks now, and I'm sure it still looks good. When I fucking first threw this game in my fucking GameCube, I was like, holy fucking shit, it looked fucking amazing. This game looks so good. Graphically, once again, you got the music, and now the music's just better now because you're moving on to, later consoles. So the music's just like the shit in the movies. It's not like digitized or anything. It looked great. There's a good amount of missions. It starts off, it plays through. I'm pretty sure it plays through all the movies. Because you start, I think the first mission is you fighting to destroy the Death Star in A New Hope. So everybody comes out of like hyperspace, and you got fighting there. And then you move on to, the other movies and stuff. I can't remember a lot about this game. I know I liked it a lot, though. It was awesome at the time, and it looked great. It played well, the gameplay was good. You used different vehicles as well. I'm pretty sure you use X-Wing, Y-Wing. I'm pretty sure you use the B-Wing, the one that has the two wings here. It's like a stand-up, it's like a stand-up vehicle, and then the wings come out like this, and then the bottom's still straightforward. That's the B-Wing, right? I know the Y-Wing is right. No, the A-Wing is the smaller one. Maybe it's a Y-Wing actually. Either way, you use a good amount of ships. I think you use the Falcon, Millennium Falcon at one point, X-Wing, all these other ones. So you use different vehicles. I'm pretty sure there was things you had to do. I think there was target medals. I think you got medals in that game, point-wise or something like that. I could be wrong. But that was a fucking awesome game. I enjoyed the shit. Like I said, my jaw dropped when I saw the graphics on that. I was like, holy shit. I was like, this game looks amazing. And it did. I'm sure it still holds up. And then in Rebel Strike, you were able to go on foot. I didn't play a lot of Rebel Strike. I think those games have gone up a little in value. They used to be real cheap, but they're not. They're for GameCube, they're kind of maybe $20, $25 games. Maybe a little more now, I don't know. But it was a great flying shooter, better than Jedi Starfighter, in my opinion, better than, what was the one? It might have been the PlayStation as well. It was on the N64, Battle for Naboo. The episode one, in my opinion, the Rogue Squadron one was the best of, the vehicle ones. Even better than the Rogue Squadrons that I have now, which is only in first person. I do prefer them in third person. My vehicle shooting games, flying games. But it's a really, really cool game. Definitely pick that up if you haven't. Because it recreates the movie, better than probably most other games. Especially back then, it was just so good. But yeah, that's number 2. Like I said, I'm not going into massive detail on some of these because I just don't know enough about them anymore. I'm really going strictly on memory. And number 1 is the first Knights of the Old Republic on the Xbox. I think it was on the PC as well, and now you can get it through the Xbox One backwards compatibility. I think they're making they're remaking the first one, aren't they? I thought I heard that a while back. I could even put the Sith Lords, the second one, on this list, but I didn't want to put 2 of them on there. But Knights of the Old Republic is amazing. It is my favorite Star Wars game. It takes place 4,000 years in the past. So these are all new characters. I think Darth Revan's the one in this one, right? Is Darth Bane in this one too? Or is he in 2? Revan's the one you use, and there's a nice little twist in there too. But anyway, Knights of the Old Republic is it came before Jade Empire, so I want to say it was BioWare's first. Maybe I'm probably wrong on this. It was BioWare's first game. It was squad based. It was a role playing game, not turn based, but I guess it was turn based because you guys have to do things. You have to put in their stuff, but you're moving around the field and you fight. I forget a lot of the names of the people in this one, but the one guy, a few of them show up in the second one as well. There's the older woman, I'm pretty sure is in the first and second, or she's just in the second. She's an older Jedi, but she's got a history too. I'm trying to remember stuff here from the first Knights of the Old Republic. I have the second one on the Xbox One. But the combat was awesome. You go to different planets and stuff. You're on Tatooine, you're on Dantooine. You go to Kashyyyk, the Wookiee homeworld. I think at the end mission, the set of missions is on an installation. And you have Sith and Jedi doing their thing in this. Like I said, it's 4,000 years in the past, so everybody from the fucking, what you know from Star Wars is not there, which is cool. That's why I loved it. I'm why do they not make a Knights of the Old Republic show and just do new characters, either way in the future or in the past like that? The combat's fun. You get different lightsabers. Other people in your party blasters, and you can choose who you want in your party and stuff. They all level up. You have your ship that Bastila is the other Jedi in this one. The older woman Jedi, I believe, is in the Sith Lords. Bastila, that's her name, right? Is the one in this one that's like your buddy. And you can go either way on this. I think you have a meter that tells you you're going dark side or light side, depending on what you're doing. Throughout the game, but you go to different planets. You can do side missions and stuff and other things. You level up your characters. You can get new lightsabers. You find little crystals and stuff. I'm pretty sure you can you can upgrade them and stuff in the workbenches. I think there's workbenches in this. It looked really fucking good for the time. Like I said, you go to so many different planets. Really fun. I think it's the Knights of the Old Republic, the first one where you go to a planet and you're like going underground to where like the lower class lives, and then all of a sudden like the Siths or something. Yeah, it's not the Empire. They're like bombarding the planet with laser fire or whatever. I'm pretty sure that's that one too. I know you end up on Tatooine and Dantooine and Kashyyyk and other planets as well. I can't remember all the names. Yeah, Bastila, I remember there was Darth Revan. Well, Revan, I think you become this twist where like you were actually just about spoilers here. I think it's Bane in this one. It could be another guy though. I keep getting the two confused, but two of the Jedis were fighting against the Mandalorians, right? That was the thing. That was the battle going on this one, and it's talked about in the second one as well. But they talk about like the war between the Mandalorians and the Jedi, and right, it is the Mandalorians they fight. I don't think this was a Sith Jedi battle in this, but they go to like the Outer Rim or whatever, and like I think your character like ends up being a dark side user and starts to lose it and turns Sith, but then something happens and you get knocked out and you have amnesia, the usual shit in these fucking games. And you come back, like I said, I might be wrong on some of this stuff, so let me correct me if whatever. But you come back and it's a pretty good story. There's a lot to do. Long gameplay, like this is not a short game. There's stuff going on. You can run around to keep leveling up. You fight a bunch of different enemies and shit. There's just a lot going on in this game. It's an awesome game. Still to this day, it's awesome. I actually want to pick it up again just for the actual Xbox, not download it onto the Xbox One, just because it's not even that expensive anymore. The second one's really cool too. Obsidian did the second one. BioWare did the first. Obsidian did the second one. I'm pretty sure it was Obsidian that did the second one. But they're all both awesome. Like I could have easily said, Sith Lords is 5. But the first Knights of the Old Republic was just so good. It was KOTOR for short. It was just so good. The gameplay was so cool. There was just so many different things. You have different. Was it? No, that was Gladius. But you have different attacks you can use, and you learn different powers you can use in battle. It's like, do I just want to do a regular lightsaber attack? Do I want to use a force power or whatever? And the same thing with the other guys too. Like anybody can use a blade too, because it's like in that game you start off with like not lightsaber. I think it's that one you start off with like regular kind of blades. I don't know what they call them in the Star Wars universe. And then you get lightsaber. Yeah, Bastila is definitely the person in the first one though. Like the second kind of main person. And there's a guy too who's a pilot. I forget his name. But he pops up in the second one as well. I think some of the other people pop up in the second game too, but you might not use them in your party. Like I said, I forget names. I probably should look some of this up. But either way, Knights of the Old Republic is amazing if you're into Western RPGs. Like it's not a Japanese RPG. Like a Final Fantasy. Although some of the Final Fantasy games now kind of have that gameplay. But you could pick what you want them to do, and then pick who you want to attack, and stuff like that. And then it moves around, and they kind of hit each other and stuff. Really good role-playing game, though. Like, I love that game. I remember when I first played it, and I didn't play it immediately when it came out. I want to say I played the first one in early 04. Maybe it was earlier, like mid to late 04, and then I got the Sith Lords for my birthday I mean, for Christmas in '04. I want to say Sith Lords came out in '04, and the first one came out in '03. Or maybe it was '03 and '05. But, no, I think it was '04. Because I got Sith Lords and Manhunt for Christmas one year. Either way, a phenomenal RPG. And it brings new characters into the fold. It takes place in the past. Well into the past. So you have different storylines going on. There's Sith and there's everything. And you obviously could end up being a Sith or a Jedi, depending on how you're going. Or you could end up kind of in a gray area. But yeah, definitely check it out if you've never played it. I'm sure it's still fun to play today. But yeah, that's like the best of my knowledge of remembering these games. I'm sure I left plenty of stuff out on these games, but either way, those are my top 5 Star Wars games. And thanks for checking this out, and have a good day.